Hey there, I'm Brittni Schroeder, and business and marketing are my jam. I'm here to walk you step by step through this crazy thing we call business. I'm a small town girl, chocolate eating, Diet Coke drinking mom, marketing guru, automation Jedi, and all around good time. This is your weekly dose of all things business and life, sprinkled with some fun. This is the Redefine Business Podcast. Welcome to another episode of Redefine Business Podcast. I feel like I've gone full circle here. I was just thinking about this, Jancee. Before I introduce my guest, Jancee, is when I started my podcast, Jancee was my first guest and she was my client. And now we're like total friends and like entrepreneur BFFs. And so I'm like, hey, you have to be my guinea pig and I'm going to do a podcast. You can be my first one. And we were kind of like a hot mess. I was a hot mess anyways, but I am so excited to have Jancee back. I want to welcome to the podcast, Jancee from Finding Your Fancy. She is an amazing organizational coach. You have to give her a follow. She has such great content. Jancee, welcome to the podcast again.
Yay, thank you. I can't believe I was your first guest. I don't think I remembered that. That's such a fun thing. Yeah, I feel like I was a hot mess too. I was like really nervous.
Oh yeah, it's funny. And I think you've been on my podcast another time when we did Amplify.
Yep, so fun. 1 year ago.
Yep, 1 year ago. So Jancee and I and our friend Taylor Ann, we did a planning retreat workshop / thing in Salt Lake City. And again, Jancee and I are really good friends. We talk all the time, good friends. But one of the things that she did at this Amplify like annual planning workshop thing is training on paper clutter. And as business owners, we organize our business, but sometimes our office might be a mess, or sometimes our computer might be a mess. And people like, this is such a good training. Do you sell this training? I know you teach it at the college.
I teach it at the college, and then I have a workshop that I do twice a year with paper clutter, because paper clutter is everyone's number one freak out, can't get it under control for business or personal.
Yeah. And this training is so good. So definitely like when she offers that, you want to get it because it's honestly like so good. But let's just give them a little teaser of,
okay.
You just jump right in and introduce yourself and say all the things you do. And then let's jump into paper clutter.
Okay. I love it. Well, first off, Brittni, I love you personally. Like you're so much fun. And I don't know, every time we get together, we have a good time. So I want to make this fun too, because your podcast is fun and informative, and this is going to be fun. I don't want you to think of paper clutter and be like, oh my gosh, this is awful. I don't like this topic. I really try to simplify it and make it super easy. I have Jancee, I live in Southern Utah, sunny St. George, except for today I'm a runner and it was 22 degrees. Are you kidding me? People out there may be colder than that, but that was freezing for me.
That's cold.
I don't like cold weather at all. I'm like a sun girl all the way. I have a 5-step toolkit that I teach for everything that I do in the home as far as how to organize your home. And this 5-step toolkit is so simple and so easy, and you can apply it in your home offices. Like if you're, for your home office that you're using, if you work from home, or any kind of office that you have, especially with paper clutter, this is a really good toolkit. So the toolkit is really simple. It's just 5 steps. It's clarify, which we sometimes are like, we just jump right in and we don't really even have a vision of what we want it to look like or feel like, or how we even want it to function. And then simplify, which is basically decluttering, but I think the word declutter is so ugly. So in my business, I never use that. I just do simplify. Systemize, which is basically organize, style, and then refresh. So that's the 5-step toolkit that I use. So the first step with clarifying, you really just need to know like what you want for your future business. Like, what do I want that to look like? And just ask, yourself a lot of questions will help you set your home office and your desktop even up for success, especially if you're a coach or something and you're coaching from home. When your desktop is cluttered with paper clutter, it honestly affects your brain, right? Like Do you ever feel that way, Brittni? Like if your
Oh yeah.
business has papers or anything on it, like you can't be creative. You have a hard
Chaos. Oh, I have to have my desk clean and even like out of sight, out of mind sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So just like asking yourself some really pointed questions, like what do you want to make space for in your work area? What do you really want to create? Like if you're specifically a business owner, like you are for entrepreneurs, like what do you want to create? And being able to like really focus in on that will help you be able to eliminate some of those papers and things that you don't want. And then how do you want to be more intentional with your setup and your space when, like for instance, I have clients where they have papers or something that they need to get into a lot, but it's like stored in a closet. So it's like far away, but they're often having to get into it. Where can we move it closer to you so it makes it really functional and easy to be able to have access to, right? So just being able to look at your space with fresh eyes and just starting from scratch really will help with that efficiency and that creativity and honestly productivity too. So just clarify where you are and then kind of where you want to be. We always just jump right into the action part, but the clarifying part is so important.
Yeah.
So
Love that.
Step 2, simplify, simplify, simplify. If I've learned anything, it's just that we kind of skip this part too. We want to go right to organizing, but we really need to simplify. Like your desktop, do you have like an old used mug that is just chilling on your desk? Or, what is on your desktop? Like really, clutter is just information. And when we can look at that and say, oh, I just don't have a place for that, or why is this even in my home office? Just really zoning in on simplifying. So your desktop, your drawers, any kind of cupboards that you have in your home office, obviously your papers, and we'll talk more about that later, but books are a huge one. Workbooks and course manuals. Oh my goodness. I have helped some home business owners before clear their offices, and so many course manuals, right? We attend a course or something and we're so excited about it. And then we just have so many manuals and we think we need to keep them all, but we probably very rarely ever reference them.
I know. Yeah. Right? Like, oh yeah, I have manuals. I'm like, okay, I might need this later. And then I don't. And you know what's great though now is a lot of courses or things we buy, you can find them online. Like I even noticed that with like if I buy say a washing machine, I'm like, oh, I've got to save this, the manual, but I'm like, I can find it online if I have a problem.
Any kind of manuals or any kind of thing like that, warranties, like once you've filled out the paperwork and stuff usually and sent it, and you're good. Like you may need a PIN number or something, but yeah, there's just so many. And so that's something to think about too. That's really a good point, Brittni, is when you're thinking about maybe having your own workshop with a course manual, is thinking about yourself. Do I like to have a bunch of papers from that? Or can I do this more digitally, that they can access it digitally instead of having all this paperwork, right?
Yeah.
So just trying to eliminate that. Step 3 is the systemizing part. So I like to call it create a home address for every single item that you are keeping in your office. So just like the firemen, when they are trying to find our house, we have an address and that's how they're able to find it. So a lot of times we're like, I don't know where this is, but it's just because you don't have a home address for where the specific item goes. So use magazine holders for things that's a really good thing to use in home offices. Obviously file folders. Pouches are a really good thing. Basket, drawer organizers, trays are really good too, for things that you want to take action on. I'm just having a really pretty tray. I'm all about making it pretty too. So you don't want to just be functional, but pretty too. So a tray is really good. As far as systemizing your papers, obviously to start off, you're going to just want to go through things so many of us have. So many of my clients have just piles of paper clutter on their desktops. And when you can just just sort through it and get rid of it, I bet you 50% or more you really don't need to keep, right? It's like a sticky note from something or something you've written on and you really don't need it. So simplifying that first, obviously, but then how do we systemize it? So the way I like to think about it is I love number 5. So I have the 5-step toolkit, and then I also have a 5-step paper clutter source sheet that I like to reference to. And so I'm going to share that with you guys so that you kind of know, hey, where does all this papers go? Where do they go? So the first thing is recycle. So anything that you recycle are things that you don't need. Basically anything that you're like, hey, this is trash. This goes in the recycle. And how I like to sort this, I think this would be so good for your listeners is, Brittni, is I love the pop-up hampers. So if you have, and I can put a link in here or whatever, give it to you, but there are these pop-up hampers and they're just really short, they're square, and they are perfect for paper simplifying. And you just pop them up and you just put a little clip on it that just says recycle. And then the next one is shred. So shred obviously is things that you don't need, but they contain really sensitive information. The third one would be archive. So that's just items that you want to hold on to, but you very rarely look at. So that would be things like taxes, right? Like there's something you need to hold on to for the next 7 years, but you really don't look at them often. So that would be an archive item. And then the fifth one is anything that you need to take action on. So that's where the pretty tray or something could come in. But as you're sorting, those take action items would go in that pop-up. So does that make sense? You have 5 different pop-ups. They each have a different label on them. So as you're trying to simplify your paper clutter, it makes it really easy to just sort it and into these different sections. And then you can address each pop-up. So you're like, oh, okay, the recycle stuff, this obviously just goes right in this recycle bin. Goodbye, adios. Shredding things. If you don't have a shredder, Staples does shredding right in front of you. A lot of times we take things and we're like, oh, what if they look at all my sensitive information? Staples or UPS store, they will actually shred it right there in front of you. So and then that's just a one and done. Archive items, obviously that's something that takes a little bit more time to kind of set up. But as far as taxes for your business, you only need to keep things for 7 years. I like to just have a file box and then I just have a manila folder in there for the year. And it's so good to set this up now, honestly, with it being the first of the year. Get your manila folder, put 2025 taxes on it for business. Place it in either a file box or if you have a file cabinet, something, and have it already set up and ready. So as you're receiving things that will be for taxes, you can just stick it in that file. It'll set you up for success for the new year. And then the take action, obviously that's just things that you are going to need your attention right now. So I just like to have like a little tray just on my desk. And I'm just like, hey, these are the things that take action. And once I have taken action on it, then that can go immediately into shred, recycle, whatever, and you're getting rid of it. It's just kind of like, it just makes it flow better to have that system. So
yeah, I try to do that every year. In fact, I just started working on my taxes and I have at the very first year, I have a 2000 and whatever the year is, and then try to put all my tax stuff. So now I'm doing taxes and I'm like, okay, just grab that folder. Things I get in the mail are there. Another tip that you gave me a while ago that I do is I don't get the mail every day. Like I get the mail once a week. That is a really good one. Yeah.
That is the best tip. Like your mail lady will hate you, but it's fine. Like, whatever, put chocolate in the box, whatever, just make her happy.
Give them a good Christmas present. Yeah. I love it. I love
it. Once a week, just grab when you have time. Because what we do is get it every day or whatever. We don't have time. So then it ends up piling up and we don't go through it. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's such a good one.
I love that. And I think just starting off the year and being organized and having a clear space, like it frees up your mind and it helps you focus. I was talking to Jancee before I hit record. I'm like, gosh, I'm having a hard time focusing. Like, I have a lot going on, but also I'm like, that's one less thing that I have to worry about is like that my workspace is always clean. Like I have to have my office clean, my desk clean before I even start the day because I don't want distractions. So it really is like, it makes such a difference. People don't realize it, but it makes like a huge difference.
A huge difference. And you know what? Give yourself time. Like as business owners, I think we don't think about this, but we we hop into the new year and we're so excited about whatever courses we're going to offer or whatever, that we just kind of don't give ourselves a week. I honestly schedule out a solid week, that first solid week of January, with no clients, like nothing, so that I can just focus on getting my business organized to set me up for success for that new year. So the tax thing, like get that all ready, get it all set up. Any file things that need to be like put away for 2020, the past year, so that you're set up for the new year. Taking the time to actually take that week and set it up will set your business up for success right from the beginning. The taxes, you go back 7 years, and you take that, whatever manila folder you had it in it, and shred it right then.
Yeah. I love that. Well, I love that. Jancee, tell my listeners how they can find you, how they can find all of the good stuff that you offer. She has a membership. She has lots of awesome stuff.
Yay. Thank you. So I'm over on Instagram. It's Finding Your Fancy. Fancy is FANCEE. Also my website, Finding Your Fancy. I actually have a free paper clutter checklist. So I will give that to Brittni so she can put that in the show notes. It basically just walks you through all the basic steps that we've talked about today. So that's awesome. I also have a membership where every single month we just organize a different space, and it's such a good time in there. I love it.
Awesome. She has amazing content. My house is so organized because of Jancee. So I love it. Okay, Jancee. Okay, I like to end every show with asking my guests 2 questions. First of all, what is a pet peeve?
Oh my gosh. One of my biggest pet peeves are when people are late. Does that
Yes.
Me loving organization. I don't know why. I just don't be late.
I'm big on that too. Respect people's time, except for church. No, I'm just kidding. I'm on time for church. I'm just kidding. I'm always on time except for church. No,
I'm always working on my family. I'm like, come on, guys. We need to be on time, right? But,
yeah. That's a big one for me too. Okay. And then what is a simple pleasure?
Honestly, at my stage of life, my simple pleasure is when my whole family is together.
Yeah.
I have 3 that are married and gone out of the house, and 1 only left. And I just realize how fast time goes. And when we're all together, that's all I want. I just want to be together. So that's my simple pleasure.
That's a good one. Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, Jancee, thank you so much. This was so good as always. So thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on, Brittni.
Let's not stop the party here. Head on over to my Instagram or Facebook group, Redefine Your Business, and let me know your thoughts about today's show. I will see you again, same time, same place, next week.